What's up, everyone? Welcome to the AI Operator, the podcast where we dive into the intersection of AI, sales operations, and really the future of business. I'm Jordan, your host, and today we're joined by Danny Seliger, formerly known as Coolness, and he is the founder and CEO of Brand Sharks. Danny, man, thanks for joining us today. Super excited to dive into kind of your journey and your thoughts on AI and business and what you see coming next. So we'll dive right in. I want to start kind of at the beginning, and I always love to hear about your journey that really led you to, where you're at today. Obviously, we've had some cool iterations of the name Coolness and how you arrived at that and got to that point in your life, all the way up to where you're at now with some exciting new changes, new Instagram handle. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But to start, when you were a kid, man, what did you dream about when you were growing up? Who did you think you were going to be?
Dude, well, first, man, I appreciate you having me on, dude. It's a pleasure. I I'm a sucker for a good conversation, and I appreciate you extending an invite, bro. Very excited to be here. My number one dream is to be on the AI Sales Operator podcast, so that's been fulfilled. But other than that, I always did love being on camera, and I wanted to have a YouTube channel that was like trick shots, and we wanted to do like there was a short form thing wasn't a thing just yet, so we wanted to just make like the best YouTube videos possible. And the dream was like to become the next Dude Perfect or have like the next best wiffle ball league. And it was super fun. So I have personally the luxury of an intersection between what I actually really want to do and what I get to do every day. Because now, fast forward 10 years, and I think I can properly claim the tag professional Instagrammer as my bio. So it's been a super wild journey. You go through a lot of different types of content, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Then you realize like, okay, you got to make money too. And then it's like, oh, I'm actually kind of good at this social media thing. So let's start a social media agency. I've just been super blessed and lucky to be able to intersect both my passion with something that makes money and being able to help people at the same time. So
Yeah, man, that's something a lot of people come to me for advice on now that I've been able to kind of create that in my life. And man, is it important, and it's not easy to do. And I feel like most people I interview, most people I talk with end up kind of falling into that in some way. There's no clear, like linear path to getting to that. So it's always cool. That's why I love asking these questions before we jump into kind of the main part of this podcast, which is really focused on AI business and operations and maybe not the most fun stuff. I love talking about people. So, as you were coming up, you mentioned a couple people there. What would you say were like your biggest influences, mentors, books, experiences, people? I know you mentioned the Dude Perfect. I think we've all seen that by this point. But what were some influences that really sparked this for you?
yeah, well, I mean, in terms of business, like it might sound counterintuitive for a business sense, but my number one influence has always been my mom. Like operate with hard work and integrity, and you'd be able to see someone just like execute that properly and embody that and live it. I think a lot of times when the more you get to know people, the more your respect for them kind of goes like this. It's never like a drop off of respect unless they do something really like out of pocket. But for the most part, it's like a constant deterioration of respect downhill. And the more you get to know somebody. And I'm thankful enough and super lucky and blessed to like my mom is someone that I respect more and more as time goes on for always living in integrity, always being a good person and working her ass off all the time. And like that was the model that I got to follow. So it's like if you get to bring that into business, know that as a young age, constantly work hard. Like you don't like nothing's handed to you. Everything must be earned and you have to operate in integrity. With those two things, like you're really destined for success. But then when it comes to business tactics, I mean, check this out. For those of you listening, I'm holding up $300 million leads books that I have handy at all times because Alex Hormozi has definitely been my biggest inspiration when it comes to business, both from the work ethic and integrity that he has, but also just like the ridiculous amount of knowledge that he's gone and collected. Like people go like, oh, he's lucky for knowing all of that stuff. But like same dude was sleeping on the ground, waking up at 4 a.m. in his gym in California. It's like really inspirational. So I think it's important to take different bits and pieces from different people and like keep what you like, discard what you don't, and just start building yourself into into a superhero because Matt McConaughey, I think, was the one that said it in a speech. He's like, my hero is me 10 years from now. My hero is
Yeah.
me 10 years from now. And each time that 10 years would go by, it's like, oh, I think my hero is me 10 years from now. And I really like that because like I'm no one's mini anyone, bro. Like I'm not mini Hormozi or mini this guy or mini dude perfect. Like I'm me, bro. Like I'm Danny. I think a lot of people play the comparison game, but it's a matter of finding inspiration in everybody. Like take a lot from the people you like, take a little bit from the people you don't like, but there's something to learn from everybody.
Whew. Clip it. We're gonna clip that one. No, I love that, man. He was holding up, like you said, for the people listening, holding up those Hormozi books. I don't know if you've seen how big those Hormozi books were. I had to get a whole new bookshelf to be able to put those on my bookshelf. But yeah, man, Hormozi's a great example of that hard work and the work behind the scenes that a lot of people don't really realize it takes to get into a position, and how many years. And we'll talk more about your social media journey because you're doing a pretty cool thing. I see the updates every single day. I saw one this morning. We hit the big 10K on a brand new account. So we'll talk about that in a moment because there is so much work behind the scenes that goes into that. And I was a guest on your podcast just about a week and a half ago and had the opportunity to really dig into that a little bit and have some really cool conversations about what it takes behind the scenes to be able to do something like that. But this podcast is called The AI Operator, right? And I have been an operator for about the last 8 years. That's all I've been doing. A lot of work behind the scenes on that. And some of us in life are operators and some of us are not, right? And I think we're in a really interesting place with AI and operations and business and sales, social media as well. And there's just so much happening all at once. There are new softwares popping up every single day. There's softwares disappearing like they never existed. And these were very large companies. There are, AIs coming out of China. I just got access to Manus, and I basically wrote in 45 minutes while I was on another meeting a 121 page, like PhD level research document on a ready to drink product that I want to create. Right. So it's moving very, very quickly. And, I've had the opportunity to interview and have conversations about, business owners like yourself, where we see AI going, what has been implemented so far in your business, and ultimately, like, what are you most excited for or not when it comes to AI? There's some people that are scared to death with DeepSeek and these different AIs coming out of places like China. And there is some obvious worry there. So I would love to talk a little bit about that. Just to start, what would you rate like your level of AI implementation inside of your business if you've used it? Where would you put yourself? Like scale 1 to 10?
I I'm gonna be self-critical. I give myself a 2 out of 10 with it. I mean, I'm a casual ChatGPT user turned into trying to not be a casual ChatGPT user. So I'm learning as we go.
Yeah.
But in social media content, like just to give a bit of context of where I'm coming from with this, is when you're posting content online, like the stuff, in my opinion, that I've seen works, it's the stuff that's most relatable and personable and real. Like it's a personal brand. You can't fake that. So it's taken a lot of training, a lot of documents, a lot of time to get an AI that like kind of can sound like me. And that could just be a skill deficiency on my end, which
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to learn every single day, even more about AI, because I think that in terms of like where it's going for the future, I mean, it's like any other similar cycle in the past. You get the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s. You got the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, late 1900s. It's like whoever capitalized off of it wins, and the ones who are just going to ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist are the ones that get wiped out. I just prefer not to get wiped out, so I'm learning it every single day, and we're trying our best to implement it. But right now, I give myself a 2 out of 10 because it's almost like ChatGPT is just like a friend of mine at this moment, and I know I could be doing more, but it's great watching your journey and just hearing everything that you're doing with AI, bro. Because I mean, to give some context, man, Jordan came into the podcast studio a little over a week ago, just like rolling off of an AI that he created that morning. He's like, bro, I just created this thing that just automated all of this and through a Telegram channel. I was like, shit, dude, I got some work to do. So he's a beast when it comes to it.
Yeah, well, and that's why it's really interesting talking with, different industry leaders because we're obviously in a very different industry, and I'm in a very pretty much straightforward, like it either automates or it doesn't, and the data either carries through or it doesn't. And there's a lot less like personality, a lot less training. And that's where, I do see a big gap in industries, of marketing and copywriting and social media versus, data and coding and operations, right? And that's something I actually spoke with my team about earlier today because we do have some VAs and they're absolutely amazing. And I wanted to share with them that AI is replacing parts of their job, right? But it will never replace the human. And that pivot is going to be really, really interesting because there are going to be some people that just don't adapt, and that we've seen that throughout history as well. And hey, you're going to have to find something else to do. But what I'm really excited about, and I think what has inspired a lot of people in these roles, is hey, you might have been sending emails before and scheduling meetings. You don't have to do that anymore, right? So what are we doing with our time? What do we get to do now? And it's really able to, put these people in creative roles and let them, really be more of who they are, which is interesting because we think of AI kind of taking over and doing less of that. Um, so it was great for them to kind of see that kind of perspective shift of how I have been looking at it. Now we had another conversation about um, AI and humans, and I see the future of AI as like Iron Man, right? We're gonna have a little AI chip in our brain, and we're gonna be super powered, right? And that's what we do with operating systems, right? We supercharge them. AI does not replace them; it supercharges them. Um, and then, our bodies, robotics, right? You have the robot and you have the human, and Iron Man is a perfect example of like combining the two. And that's really how I see this happening. And then the last thing we had talked about was in mathematics, is an interesting thing is when you divide a number indefinitely, you never reach zero. And that's where infinity comes from, right? So you can get ever close to zero, but you'll never actually be able to get to zero by dividing a number. You just put more zeros in front of the decimal, right? Or behind the decimal. And I almost feel like there's a world where AI is always going to be trying to become more human. So that would be a question I have for you, I guess. Like, do you think it is ever going to reach true human potential? Like that it will be so close to human? Um, or is it going to kind of be like getting indefinitely closer? It's going to be getting better, but it won't be human. What are your thoughts on that? It's a really interesting
When you say
concept.
human, do you mean like be like a body or like through the computer?
Let's say through the computer.
Through the computer? Well,
Yeah.
then I think it can't truly be human, but I
Yeah.
really think it's gonna get fucking close, man, because,
Yeah.
I mean, I was first introduced to AI when I was in college, which was a little less than 2 years ago. So I dropped out in May 2023, and I took my final exam in accounting with the assistance of ChatGPT, and it was fucking stupid. Like, I couldn't get it to do like, I was like, "Man, you're dumb." Like,
Yeah.
I'm yelling at the ChatGPT during the exam because I need the
You're like,
answer.
I should have studied harder for this
No,
test.
not
Damn it.
necessarily. I knew I was dropping out. Definitely wasn't thinking that, but still wanted to do well. Still ended up acing the test, by the way, for anyone that cared. But either way, it was really, really dumb, but also genius at the time because it's like, wait, this thing
Yeah.
exists. And then you fast forward a year and a half, and like I have it talking and coming up with ideas almost better than I can because I've finally been training it. I mean, for some context, we had 4 videos go ultra viral, meaning 100x plus of what our audience is in the last week. All 4 of those were AI generated ideas based off what
Wow.
happened in the past. So I think it's only going to even get better and closer to human. And I think it is definitely dangerous, but I'm also not really scared because I know I'm
Yeah.
going to work super hard. I think that anybody with our type of mindset that's like, hey, whatever comes our way, it's like nothing scary. It's all just opportunity. So if you can learn it like you're doing and like the audience is doing, then I mean, I think it'd be just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And that's incredible. So multiple viral videos generated from AI. But like you said, it's also very difficult to generate some of that content. So what has been your process kind of making sure that it's still Danny, maybe it's sparking that creativity and letting you run with it. What does that look like? I mean, was it direct from AI? Was it, creative that was generated and you ran with it? Um, I'm interested.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the AI space, especially in social media, like my competitors in specific, have AIs that aren't that good, but they understand the messaging to get to the consumer, and they'll say, "Hey, you can make a ton of viral videos immediately with AI just using this one thing that you just have to give me 997 for." And I think that that's where the industry has gone to, at least in social media. For me, like I'll be blunt, like I've written thousands of scripts myself that I have in a database that I can categorize by performance and feed to the AI and say, hey, this one got 1 million, but this one was similar but got 5,000. Like look at the differences between that and make it more like this. So the breakthrough that I had in making those videos that were generated by AI was giving it a document of 6 ultra fucking viral videos and said, look at the
Yeah.
patterns between these, both in the idea and in the execution of the script, and then give more. So I have the, some would say luxury, I say privilege based on work, to have given the AI 6 mega viral scripts that I had written in the
Yeah.
past month. And it just kind of duplicated those. So I don't think that it's a massive training thing. I think it, again, boils down to hard work, and being able to execute on your own first and being competent. Because I see that the people that send the AI emails or the AI messages or the AI, like whatever, like the AI documents, and it's so obvious, are the ones that like
Yeah.
use it and they text in all lowercase. They go, yo, what's up, dude? Give me this. I'm having this. And then, of course, the AI gives you a bunch of garbage. But if you give it, and this is just in my opinion, as a openly stated 2 out of 10 when it comes to AI, like if I give it enough of a prompt and I'm like, yo, bro, this is like, this is how I need it. I want it like this. And then editing it myself afterwards, like I didn't word for word say what the AI told me to say. Videos that went viral,
Yeah.
I made it my own, but it was the idea and the structure that AI. So that's the biggest thing that we're doing in our business right now, at least for my content. But what we are doing, which is super fucking exciting, is I have an AI engineer that we just brought on to the team, and he's gonna try and make like a true AI Danny that clients can use and ask questions and build scripts for themselves based off the thousands of scripts that I've written, not only for myself but for clients. So that's our next play, which is actually moving down the pipe faster than I thought it would. So I'm
I
really
love
excited.
that. Yeah, we had a brief conversation about that about a week and a half ago. So I'm glad to see that's moving along. Um, and you made a really good point there. You had information to provide it, and you can tell when stuff is written by AI poorly. It's like I consider it like AI slop, and there's a lot of it out, and I'm guilty of it. But it's almost a differentiator for me where you have people wanting to use AI, but they're lazy and they didn't put the work in on the front end. And you can see that in their AI responses because they're trying to be someone they're not. And they're, telling AI to do it for them. Now, to take it even further, they think they actually know better than the AI. So now they're telling the AI how to think when they probably would have been better off leaving it more broad with just good constraints.
Mm.
Um, so they end up, for copywriting, for example, they'll, throw a bunch of old sales letters from, 30 years ago from some of the goats into a, thing and say, make it like this. But the problem was they were selling to a completely different market, right? Completely different generation. So now you got this copy that might have been good 30 years ago, and still has some incredible, things in it, but they didn't do the work. They don't have the context around it. And AI is all about context. So that's always interesting, and I've been guilty of it myself, and to the people who are trying to overcome that, AI is there to, I wouldn't say AI is there to save you time. It is, but in a different perspective than a lot of people look at it. Because maybe it takes the same time to do a task, but you're able to do it 10 times better, right? So what would have taken you 10 hours can take you 1 hour um, now, but that doesn't mean you put 10 minutes into it instead of 1 hour,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because that's what's happening is we're shrinking it and then shrinking it even more. So that's been a really interesting one for me. I see it pretty often. Obviously, in sales operations, we deal with a lot of like sales copy. What emails and text messages do we send out? And I'll read some of these texts. I'm like, oh my gosh, no one is ever going to respond to that. It's clearly written by AI, and people still want authenticity. So. Um, but I do want to circle around to your recent success, or continued success, I should say, with social media. When I first met you, I first knew you. You went by the name as Coolness on Instagram, right? At one point, how many followers on Instagram?
Peaked at 1.8 million.
1.8. That's what I thought. So you have 1.8 million followers, and this guy gets a crazy idea to basically delete this account and start over, which could be one of the craziest things anyone's ever heard of. Now, I've got a lot of context behind the background of maybe what would have made that a slightly easier decision, but I don't think anyone on the planet would consider that an easy decision. And you did this all with the idea that you have proven the model of growing social media and going viral, and that you can do it over and over and over again. And that's a lot of what we do in operations, right? Is we create repeatable processes for people to follow so that we can do the same thing over and over again. And it's been absolutely incredible to watch. It's been 35 days. You've hit 10,000 followers. How many viral videos?
Depends on your definition of viral, but we have 4 that are over 1 million right now.
That was a low key flex, guys.
No, there's mentors of mine that that consider 3x your followers viral, and in that case, I'd have hundreds. But
in short, guys, he's crushing it. How many videos you got over 10K views?
More than I can count. I mean,
More than he can count. Yeah.
If I had to guess, because we've posted over 200 times, and we're averaging one every 4, so probably around 50 or so, I would say.
Yeah. Wow. So what I love about this story, and I think is really important for our audience, and tying back to AI, and kind of what I just mentioned of shrinking time from 10 hours to 1 hour, but not going from 1 hour to 10 minutes, is even though he has this repeatable process that he's able to follow, there is so much attention to detail and work that goes in behind the scenes. And Danny, I think it would be cool if you could share. You shared a story with me. Hopefully, you're open to sharing it. But it was the day you almost quit this challenge. I think it was like day 3 or something. And I just think that's good for everyone here. We have a lot of business owners listening. We have a lot of people who want to become business owners. And yeah, can you share that story?
Yeah. So to give a bit of context, I started a challenge with this new Instagram account, and I said I was going to post 4 times a day for 100 days straight and just see what happens. And like, I'm committing to it. And I told everyone that I was going to do it. Like, I burned the boats, and I like went on my story, and the people who I'm close with and that follow me all saw it. And then it's like, if you don't actually execute that, like you're just a liar. And it was day 5. And I remember I was like, dude, this is fucking stupid, bro. Like, why am I doing this? Like, we weren't getting any views. Like, we were getting a couple of videos that did okay, but I was like, this is so dumb. Like, I have a business to run. Why am I posting 4 times a day on social media? Like, I should have just agreed to 2. I don't know why I agreed to 4. And I told one of my team members at the time who was living with me, I was like, bro, we're not doing this anymore. Like, we're losing out on sales, because I like missed a call because I was on I wasn't on a podcast, but I was like out filming. Someone called me. That was a deal.
From Costco with the tie
yeah,
on.
yeah. I walk out to like you're missing out on business deals because you're sitting in Costco in a suit making funny videos. So like, to me, I couldn't compute that at the time. I was like, we have to stop doing it. He goes, dude, you committed to it. You have to do it. Like, that's just, you said 4, so we're doing 4. What has to happen for us to execute these 4 without losing out on business? So then you come up with a framework, an operation, a repeatable system that you can just, okay, every day we make these videos in the morning. It's the first thing we do, and then we turn our phone on afterwards. And if we have stuff we have to do, if we have packed day ahead, then it's like, you got to make 8 videos. And I just got back from Mexico City, where I was at for the past week. We had to make 50 videos to prep for that, so we could be prepared for I believe 12 days. We scheduled ahead 4 times per day, but it's this the snowball effect has been working, and it's been cool to watch. But I owe it all to the people that I have around me that keep me going and that keep me sharp and that question my ideas. Because I think if you have a bunch of yes men surrounding you and people who aren't going to push you, you're not going to reach your full potential. Danny would have given up beforehand if I didn't have someone next to me that was like, dude, no, you agreed to this, you're doing it. And some of the videos that I had ideas for that were terrible ideas might have gone out for the world to see. And some of the best ideas that we worked on as a team wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the guys around me that are like, yo, I don't like this idea. Well, we can make it better by doing this. And I see a lot of leaders, especially leaders, either be stuck in their ways with ideas and not willing to hear criticism, but also liking to surround themselves with yes men because it makes them feel good. I mean, there's a lot of times, bro, I do not feel comfortable all the time around my team because they push me, bro. They're like, no, I don't agree with that. I think if we changed up the 2 seconds of this first video, like if you change the first 2 seconds of the video, that you just worked 60 minutes writing the script on. Like I could have an ego and be like, "Ah, bro, no, like it's good. I could do it better." Or it's like, okay, let's test them both. I'll rewrite a script with what you said. I'll write the script with what I said, and we can test them both against each other. And oftentimes, I'm wrong. Like people aren't willing to be wrong. They want to have yes men around them, and they don't want to be pushed. People say they want to be pushed, but when
Yeah.
it comes to actually being pushed, it's really uncomfortable, dude. Like there's days I'm like, bro, like get these fucking guys away from me. Like
Yeah.
I just like I want to go for a walk and I don't want to write the script. But you have the people around you, it's uncomfortable. But in my opinion, it's what breeds success. Because we did our pod Wednesday, right? So it's 8 days ago. And
Yep.
I was celebrating. We went into the podcast at like 3,950, came out of the pod at 4,000. That's just 8 days ago. And
Yep.
then this morning we hit 10K. And if I pull up the page, I mean, I have one that I posted yesterday that's flying 10.6K right now. So up
Wow.
another 600 just in the morning today. So it's cool to see the snowball, but it's like a really, really good reminder of like, you gotta keep going. And like,
Yeah.
I'm so lucky to have hit this in 35 days as opposed to 350 days. And it's just now you gotta keep
Yeah.
going. But also now like the reps lead to so much good stuff. Of course, I have the followers now, which I still think is a microscopic amount compared to where we're going to be at over the next few months, let alone years. But I also have a ridiculous amount of data to not only review with my team, but to train new team members on. Like when I bring on somebody, I mean, today's been packed with interviews for a customer success manager. I can show them my account. I can have them analyze my data and be like, hey, check this out. See what I mean when I'm training you on this particular piece of the video? It's this way because of this. Here's the data from my own fucking reels that you can
Yeah.
take a. And then, not to mention the AI that you can train, but the nuance that you get waking up, showing up to a podcast like this, knowing that I've made 400 social media reels in the last 40 days and having the nuance and be like, okay, yeah, like there's really not many people that are doing it like this. And you
Yeah.
can't fake that confidence. And the people that try to fake the confidence, they only have it for so long because then they look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, I'm not who I say I am. And just working on that congruency. And that's the name of my podcast, Congruence, because my favorite words, like you gotta thoughts match words, match actions. Like if I think I should be doing something and I'm not doing it, I'm incongruent. If I say I'm gonna do something and I don't do it, I'm incongruent. To me, it's just massive, massive execution and keeping the right people around you that are going to push you even when you give pushback.
Man, there was a lot to love there. And multiple things. One, surrounding yourself with the right people is just absolutely the only way to be successful, in my opinion. You can't do this on your own. You can't run a business, can't run a big business by yourself, right? You're always going to get bottlenecked. AI may change that in the future, but you have to have those people around you. You have to have the people that you can bounce ideas off of. And there's two things that I kind of picked out there. One is the uncomfortable feeling of being pushed back on when you're making decisions or asking for advice and you get called out. And like you said, I'm a big believer, and that is something that it should be a daily thing. And you really have to be able to understand why you respond a certain way when things bite you like that. And we talked
Mhm.
about that actually on your podcast, I think.
Yeah. This is a deep one,
Um,
dude.
yeah, deep topic and an important one. And then the other side of that, which was, it's really interesting when I see accounts like yours. If I didn't have the context behind what you're doing, um, I found there maybe some little part of like jealousy in me, right? Of like this, like man, like how is he? It's because he's Danny, and that has really kept me accountable to like man, like of course my LinkedIn isn't growing. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not consistent. My posts suck, I'm not looking at the analytics and it's not a priority for me right now. So I think, holding yourself accountable is super important, but also the prioritization of things, right? How big of a priority is this? Because if it's not a true priority and you don't have the accountability and you don't have people that surround you who are pushing you to do the right thing, it is very, very, very difficult to do something like you are doing at the scale you're doing it and how quickly you're doing it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's I took this from Hormozi. It was a podcast that he put out around the middle of December 2024 called Lack of Focus is Keeping You Poor, something like that. That particular podcast completely changed my life because he talked about how you need to choose the one thing, like the one big swing that you can take that will solve all the problems and put all of your focus towards that.
Yeah.
So I decided that if I become effectively a full-time content creator slash influencer and I can grow a big enough audience, what other problems get solved? Leads get solved, get solved because people can now see my stuff and you have more authority when you're closing when people have seen you hundreds of times on the internet before. I have networking on point now because all I have to do is meet someone, just get their Instagram, and now I'm at the top of their feed the entire time. I have talent acquisition on point now because I have tons of eyeballs on me just as a result of going like snapping my fingers for 35 days. It looks like snap of fingers, but it's a lot of fucking hard work. But I put up one application for customer success manager. I have 90 applicants, bro. My next problem I have to solve is how I'm going to talk to all of these qualified people because I put an Instagram story up. I
Yeah.
want to get one of my Colombian employees into the US. I put a quick Instagram story up and I'm in 10 group chats in the matter of an hour and we're going to get him like that's the power of social media. So it's like picking one thing and sticking your entire focus to it. But to your point of like, if you didn't see behind the scenes a little bit of what we're doing, it'd be hard to grasp. And to me, I think that there's power in putting in obscene amounts of work and making it look easy. Because
Yeah.
then if I have a competitor that says, oh, it's just because he's Danny, that person has now quit in my eyes. They
Yeah.
will now not be able to compete with me and they've admitted that I'm better when in reality I'm not any better. I just worked harder and I
Yeah.
concealed it and made it look easy. But like, dude, I can't tell you, like if I added up the amount of hours of sleep I've lost from the beginning of this challenge, because it's like, oh, I got to schedule all 4 posts out tomorrow. I got to put them on trial rails. We got to put 20 variations of each of these posts and not 20 variations of posts, but like if you put out 5 variations of 4 posts in one day or posting 20 times a day, it's like, dog, I just want to go to sleep. But like I got to wake up tomorrow at 5:30 and I'm going to work out cuz I'm working towards the next marathon that we're running. It's like
Let's go.
but you don't quit at those because
Yeah.
if I skip one of those, it derails me completely. But if I show up to all of those, now the next roadblock that comes towards me or like I'm talking to someone, you speak with massive confidence. Like I wake up and I know. Like I can look myself in the mirror and I'm the only one that will know yes or no if I put everything I had out there for the day. And every day that it's yes, I put everything out there. It feels good. And you operate the way that you're supposed to operate. There's no incongruencies. There's no
Yeah.
inconsistencies. If I want to talk this talk, I have to fucking walk the walk as well. So it's fulfilling when you run the walk and you do it even more than you said you were going to do.
Yeah, man. I love that. And I'll wrap up with the kind of one last thought. Because at the end of the day, with AI, again, there is so much to look out and get almost envious of or concerned that you're falling behind. And the biggest piece of advice, the biggest shift for me personally, for anyone listening, was one, never focus on anyone but yourself, right? So that was a big shift of like, the healthcare system, for example. How do we fix the healthcare system? Just go build a better healthcare system, right? How do we fix the Democratic or Republican parties, right? We got a bunch of people that love to talk about politics these days. And they're not doing anything about it, right? So how about instead of talking bad about the other party, you just go build a better party. If you're Republican, go build a better Republican party and you won't have to worry about what other people are doing, right? At RevPilot, inside of our company, the same thing. It doesn't matter what these other people are doing. We can take inspiration from them, but at the end of the day, it matters what we are doing in the inside of our organization on a daily basis to make sure we're getting to where we want. And then the second piece of that is creativity, and this is something, a core piece of what you do with content creation and all this. But with AI, we're really limited right now from what I've seen by our own creativity because it's a whole new way of thinking. Can we do it this way or is there another way? And we were so used to the limitations that we had on operations and sales and CRMs, and those have been lifted. Those are gone, so it's a combination to me of focusing on yourself and just building something that you truly care about, that's something amazing. And yeah, so it fires me up. But Danny, man, this was a great conversation. I really appreciate you sharing all of your insights and experiences with us. And before we wrap up, where can people find you? I know it is under Professor Danny on Instagram. Is that
Yeah,
it?
that's the best spot. Professor Danny on IG.
Okay, perfect. Check him out on Professor Danny. Everything else will be linked in the description and bio there. and follow along in his journey. He'll be at 100K before you know it and beyond. So, but again, Danny, man, thank you so much.
Jordan, brother, you're a beast. This podcast is going places, man. I'm excited to watch it grow. You're savage,
Awesome.
bro.
Cheers.